Welcome to the Channel of Media. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing political maneuvers in the tech world, a deep dive into how Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is boldly pivoting his company's politics by leaning into a closer relationship with former President Donald Trump. This isn't just another headline. It's a story of survival, transformation, and high-stakes maneuvering that could reshape the future of one of Silicon Valley's largest empires. Let's kick things off with the basics. For years, Zuckerberg and Meta have maintained a complicated, roller coaster relationship with U.S. politics. Under previous administrations, especially during the Obama years, Zuckerberg was seen as a champion of progressive policies, supporting liberal initiatives like immigration reform and diversity programs. But in recent times, especially following Trump's re-election, there's been a dramatic shift. Zuckerberg has been repositioning himself and his company in a very different political light, aiming squarely at the heart of Trump's inner circle. One of the most eye-catching moves has been Zuckerberg's regular trips to Washington, D.C. The Meta CEO has taken to the skies in his Gulfstream G650 more frequently than ever before, using these trips not only for business, but as an opportunity to rebuild his political connections. In early February, for instance, Zuckerberg made a notable trip to Washington to reconnect with the political elites, and he wasn't shy about showing his support. He donated a whopping $1 million to Trump's inauguration and even co-hosted a black tie reception in honor of the former president. These actions underscore a clear strategic choice. Zuckerberg is betting on Trump's brand of leadership as the pathway to securing Meta's future. But what exactly is at stake here? The answer lies in the looming specter of regulatory scrutiny. Under the Biden administration, Meta found itself squarely in the crosshairs of aggressive antitrust lawsuits and relentless pressure to rein in misinformation. Regulatory challenges were mounting fast, and it became apparent that the old ways of doing business wouldn't cut it anymore. So, in what some insiders are calling a Clarence Thomas strategy, Zuckerberg has made a dramatic pivot. By aligning more closely with Trump and his allies, he hopes to secure a more favorable political climate, one that might provide Meta with the breathing room it needs to continue its aggressive expansion into AI, the metaverse, and beyond. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details. One of the most striking signals of this new alignment is how Meta has restructured its leadership and policies to reflect a pro-Trump vision. For instance, Zuckerberg has not only appointed Dana White, the outspoken UFC CEO and a known Trump ally, to Meta's board of directors, but he has also elevated Republican strategist Joel Kaplan to the role of Chief Global Affairs Officer. Alongside these personnel moves, Meta has rolled back some of its previous policies. The company has weakened its hate speech protocols, disbanded parts of its civil rights team, and even scrapped its once vital external fact-checking system that had drawn fire from Trump during his first term. These aren't just cosmetic changes. They represent a full-scale rebranding of the company's public persona. There's also the intriguing detail of Zuckerberg's growing physical and symbolic foothold in Washington. In a bold move that sends a strong political message, he purchased a $23 million mansion near the residence of Vice President J.D. Vance. This isn't just a luxury property. It's a strategic investment designed to solidify his presence among the highest levels of political power. During one of his recent trips, Zuckerberg reportedly engaged in discussions with Vance about persuading European regulators to ease up on policies that could throttle Meta's plans for rolling out new AI products. Vance later echoed that sentiment on the international stage, warning European lawmakers against over-regulating American tech, a message that dovetails neatly with Zuckerberg's new political posture. However, despite these well-calculated moves, the relationship with Trump remains complicated. Even after all this overtures, Trump has continued to air his grievances. In public statements and on social media, Trump has not shied away from his trademark insults, referring to Zuckerberg as Zuckerbucks, and even hinting that he might end up behind bars. Such mixed signals underscore just how unpredictable the political landscape can be, and how risky Zuckerberg's gamble really is. On one hand, there's the potential for significant regulatory reprieve. On the other, the MAGA base remains deeply skeptical. many Trump supporters, accustomed to his anti-elitist rhetoric, aren't immediately buying into the notion that a tech billionaire like Zuckerberg can be trusted. But there's more to this story than just political donations and high society dinners. At its core, Zuckerberg's pivot is a stark reflection of Silicon Valley's evolving relationship with politics. For decades, the tech industry was assumed to lean heavily democratic, with a young progressive workforce that championed liberal values. Yet the emergence of a more combative, bipolar political climate, fueled in large part by Trump's unpredictable approach, has forced even the tech titans to rethink their strategies. Zuckerberg's recent actions, including drastically altering Meta's policies on content moderation and rolling back diversity initiatives, signal not an ideological transformation, but a hard-nosed recalibration driven purely by business interests. As one former insider candidly put it, Mark is always going to do what's best for the business. Now, of course, it's important to note that while these moves are dramatic, the tangible results are still up in the air. Analysts like Stefan Slowinski from BNP Paribas Exane observe that, so far, there hasn't been clear evidence that these pro-Trump pivot strategies have translated into a measurable benefit for Meta's bottom line. Will these shifts actually help Meta dodge the regulatory bullets being fired by the Biden administration, or are they merely high-stakes maneuvers in an ongoing game of political risk-taking? Moreover, the story isn't solely about Meta. It speaks to a broader trend in the intersection of technology, politics, and public perception. For decades, tech companies enjoyed a sort of untouchable aura, until public trust, privacy issues, and misinformation controversies began to erode that myth. Now, as antitrust lawsuits loom and political divisions widen, Zuckerberg's High Wire Act is a microcosm of an entire industry trying to navigate choppy political waters. So what does all this mean going forward? Questions abound. Will Zuckerberg's political bet on Trump ultimately pay off by softening regulatory pressures? Or will it further alienate the conservative base that has long been skeptical of big tech's intentions? And perhaps most importantly for Meta, can these sweeping changes help the company secure its future in a rapidly evolving digital landscape where artificial intelligence, the metaverse, and global competition are reshaping the market? Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this dramatic political realignment. Do you think Zuckerberg's strategy is a clever, forward-thinking move, or is it a dangerous gamble that could backfire? How do you feel about the erosion of traditional liberal policies in big tech in favor of more pragmatic, business-first decisions? And what about Trump's continued frustration and mixed messaging? Do you see that as a minor hiccup or a sign of deeper political instability? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, and let's get a conversation going. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more videos that break down complex political maneuvers and tech industry secrets, be sure to subscribe to the channel of Media. Your insights and questions make our discussions that much richer. Thanks for watching.